You're watching Must Do Travels, and this is our London travel guide. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more updates on travel destinations around the world, and join our club at club.mustdotravels for the best deals on vacations all around the world. The City of London is the capital of England and the United Kingdom, which are technically not the same thing if you're a foreigner like me. The city was originally settled by the Romans more than 2,000 years ago, but today is considered one of the financial centers of the world, and it's the world's most visited city. This list names off 10 of our favorite places to visit within the City of London, but it's by no means an all-inclusive list and in no particular order. But to kick it off, at number 1 is Buckingham Palace. Buckingham Palace is the official residence of the Queen of England and has been since the crowning of Queen Victoria back in 1837. A monument to this most loved queen has been erected directly in front of the steps of the palace. And despite being one of the most beautifully decorated buildings in the entire country, one of its most famous attractions is actually the Royal Guardsmen, who stand stoically on watch for the Queen's safety. The ceremonial changing of the guards is also a favorite to observe for many tourists, and the palace has been a focal point for many of the country's formal ceremonies, such as wedding receptions and times of mourning. Located nearby at number 2 is Westminster Abbey. Now, churches have technically been built on this site since the year 960, and royal traditions began taking place in Westminster Abbey ever since the coronation of William the Conqueror, who was crowned on this site back in 1066. The current church that we see today started its construction in the year 1245, and many additions were later added to it, making up the current layout of Westminster Abbey today. Since the year 1066, every single British and English monarch that was crowned has been crowned inside Westminster Abbey. Additionally, it's considered to be a great honor to be buried inside or on the grounds of the Abbey itself. Located practically next door, and at number 3 on our list, is the Palace of Westminster. This building contains the Houses of Parliament and Elizabeth Tower, which is often misreferred to as Big Ben. The term Big Ben is actually just the name of the heaviest bell inside the clock tower, but it can be heard ringing loud and clear every hour on the hour, which gives it its nickname. The original building was constructed way back in 1016, but unfortunately burned to the ground in a massive fire back in 1834. The present building began construction a few years later and was completed in 1870. And although the palace has not been an official residence of the royal family for more than a few centuries, the Houses of Parliament still conduct their official business within its many chambers. Not far away is the Tower Bridge. The Tower Bridge was completed in 1894 and is an iconic representation of London's massive expansion during the boom of the Industrial Revolution. Many tourists mistakenly refer to this bridge as the London Bridge due to its prominence on the River Thames, but the London Bridge is actually located about half a mile upstream. The construction of this bridge was a significant undertaking for its time, and careful consideration had to be given to allow for the passing of many of the larger sailing vessels that frequented the river. Its center section can be drawn upwards between the two towers to allow for the taller ships to pass through. And when the bridge is not drawn, pedestrians and automobiles are able to move from bank to bank, no longer relying on the ferries that predated its construction. At number 5 is Trafalgar Square. Located in the center of London, Trafalgar Square was constructed in 1840 to commemorate the Battle of Trafalgar, which took place back in 1805. Prior to its renaming, the site had already been a popular landmark in the city and had gone through many name changes over the years. Since 1947, and every year thereafter, exactly 12 days before Christmas, a giant Christmas tree is donated by the country of Norway and erected within the square. So you can think of Trafalgar Square as being London's version of Rockefeller Center when it comes to the city's Christmas traditions. Trafalgar Square used to be known for its flocks of feral pigeons that completely blanketed the area, and tourists previously took delight in feeding them and watching the frenzy that took place. But by the early 2000s, the situation with the pigeons was officially put to an end. Now that might sound like it's a rather morbid thing to say, but it was mostly done by banning and eventually outlawing the feeding of pigeons, as well as the introduction of some falcons and other birds of prey that scared off the pigeons. One of the absolute best parts about visiting London brings us to number 6, which is all the free museums. That's right, unlike most metropolitan cities, London doesn't charge for admission to its natural history museums, art museums, and many royal collections. There's so many to choose from, and they all house awe-inspiring displays. But one of our absolute favorites is the Wallace collection, which is an art collection full of wonderful paintings, sculptures, antique furniture, and even suits of armor and weaponry. The total collection spans for 30 galleries, which is absolutely insane to fathom until you see it for yourself. It actually took the Wallace family more than 5 generations to amass this impressive collection of fine art, but the family so proudly displays it today to the public completely free of admission charges. Another great thing about visiting London is its many well-kept parks and gardens. At number 7, we list Hyde Park and Regents Park as being in close tie for number 7. Although they're not technically the same park, they're both absolutely amazing to visit. Both feature lush lawns, blooming gardens, and peaceful ponds that are absolutely fabulous backdrop for an afternoon picnic, and that's weather permitting, of course. It's a great place to relax and enjoy a peaceful stroll, and the many trails provide a welcomed break from London's otherwise serious and busy daily flow. Hop on one of London's famous tall red double-decker buses and head down to Piccadilly Circus. At number 8, Piccadilly Circus may sound like it conjures up thoughts of lion tamers and acrobatic clowns, but the term actually just dates back to London's Roman years, when the traffic circles were referred to as a circus. If it wasn't round in shape, it might have actually just been referred to as a square, so maybe now you're starting to get a sense of the nomenclature that British used to name their intersections and crossroads. Although, not to be put to shame, there's still a lot of fun stuff taking place in and around the area. Piccadilly Circus is a busy train terminal for the London Underground. We mean the transit system, not the band. And it can be likened to New York City's Times Square. Nearby, you'll find Broadway-style theaters with some of the most famous shows such as Les Mis, The Lion King, and the tongue-in-cheek satire known as the Book of Mormon. And that brings us to number 9. Just adjacent to Piccadilly Circus is London's West End. Think about Broadway in New York City. If you visited the area during the daytime, you would have many cafes and restaurants to choose from, but at nighttime, the brightly lit signage almost transforms the ambiance into a booming scene for some of the most sought-after nightlife. Pubs and nightclubs start cracking and the entertainment is abound. Some of the most notable theaters to catch a show at are the Queen's Theatre, Lyceum Theatre, and Gielgud Theatre, but there are dozens more that easily could have made this list. Last but not least is the London Eye. At number 10, the London Eye is one of the most recently added residents to the city's skyline. It was opened on the riverbanks in 1999, just before the turn of the century, although it didn't officially open to passengers until a few months later. This gigantic Ferris wheel carries almost 4 million passengers per year, which makes it the most popular tourist attraction in the entire country. The Eye features 32 air-conditioned passenger capsules that can hold up to 25 people each, and a ride lasts for more than half an hour and provides a fantastic view of the city and a great vantage point for taking aerial photographs almost 500 feet in the air. Some residents of London have scoffed at the addition of such a large metallic object being so boldly added to their city's skyline, but that can be likened to the sentiment that the Parisians once gave to Gustave Eiffel's now famous tower in Paris, France. If you like videos like these and learning more about travel destinations around the world, subscribe to us here at Must Do Travels on YouTube, and join our club at club.mustdotravels.com, and you can get our exclusive offers and updates on some of the best destinations around the world. Until next time, this has been Must Do Travels and our city guide to London.